I didn't think he was listening. That's what I keep trying to explain to everyone who judges me for what happened. I thought my husband was asleep. I thought I was having a private phone conversation with my sister in the living room while he slept in the bedroom. I didn't realize he was awake. I didn't know he could hear every word through the thin walls of our apartment. I didn't think he'd remember exactly what I said and then completely change his behavior based on it. I was catastrophically wrong about all of that. The comment itself was just venting to my sister, just expressing frustration about choices I'd made years ago, just wondering out loud if I'd made the right decision about which brother to marry. I thought it was a safe conversation, private, between sisters who share everything without judgment, and I said something that would destroy my marriage, that would change my husband completely, that would make him stop trying, stop caring, stop putting in effort, something that would turn him from a devoted husband into someone who was just going through the motions while I watched the man I'd married disappear. Something he heard every word of and decided to use as permission to give up on us. My name is Christina. I'm 30 years old. I work as a human resources manager making good money. I've been married to my husband Evan for 5 years, together for 8 total. We have a comfortable life, nice house in the suburbs, good careers, normal marriage with its ups and downs. Evan is a good husband in most ways. 32 years old, works as an accountant at a mid-sized firm. Reliable, steady, treats me well. We have a stable relationship, but Evan is not exciting, not adventurous, not particularly romantic or spontaneous. He's predictable, safe, the kind of man who plans everything and avoids risk. Evan has an older brother named Cole, 35 years old, completely different personality from Evan. Cole is spontaneous, adventurous, charismatic, outgoing, works in sales and is extremely successful because of his personality, travels constantly, lives in an expensive downtown condo, dates beautiful women, lives the exciting single life that looks appealing from the outside. I dated Cole first. That's what makes this situation complicated. I met Cole 8 years ago at a party. We dated for 6 months. It was exciting and passionate and intense. But Cole wasn't ready to settle down. He wanted to travel, focus on his career, enjoy being single. He broke up with me kindly but firmly, said he wasn't ready for the kind of relationship I wanted. I was devastated, heartbroken, thought Cole was the one, and couldn't imagine being with anyone else. Then I met Evan at a family gathering 3 months after Cole and I broke up. Evan was different from Cole, quieter, more serious, more stable. He asked me out. I said yes because I was lonely and hurt, and Evan seemed safe. We started dating. It was comfortable from the beginning, not passionate like with Cole, not exciting, but reliable, steady. Evan was consistent. He called when he said he would. He showed up on time. He remembered important dates. He treated me well. After the chaos of dating Cole, Evan felt like a relief. We got engaged after 2 years, married a year later, built a life together, bought a house, established careers, normal progression of a stable marriage. But I always wondered, always thought about Cole, about what might have been if he'd been ready to commit when I wanted commitment, about whether I'd chosen the right brother, about whether I'd settled for Evan because Cole wasn't available. The conversation with my sister that destroyed everything happened 3 weeks ago. It was late, almost midnight. Evan had gone to bed early because he had an important presentation at work the next morning. I thought he was sound asleep. My sister Rachel called upset about her own relationship problems. We talked for over an hour about dating, marriage, choices, regrets, and I got too comfortable, too honest, too willing to admit things I should have kept to myself. "Do you ever wonder if you married the right person?" Rachel asked. I should have said no, should have defended my marriage, should have spoken about Evan with respect and gratitude. Instead, I said what I'd been thinking for years. Honestly, sometimes I think I settled for the wrong brother. Rachel was quiet for a moment. What do you mean? I mean, I dated Cole first. It was exciting and passionate. Then Cole didn't want commitment, so I ended up with Evan. And Evan is great. He's stable and reliable and treats me well. But he's not Cole. He's not exciting or spontaneous or adventurous. He's just safe, predictable. So you wish you'd married Cole instead? I wish Cole had been ready to commit when I wanted commitment, I clarified. Then I would have married him instead of Evan, and I'd have the excitement I wanted along with the commitment. But Cole wasn't ready. I know, I said, so I settled for Evan. And it's fine. It's a good life. But sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I'd waited for Cole instead of settling for his younger brother. Before we get into it, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit hype to boost this episode. Drop a comment below with your city or country. I'm always curious where viewers are joining from. Does Evan know you feel this way? God, no, and he never will. Evan thinks I chose him because I wanted him. Not because Cole rejected me and Evan was available. He doesn't know he was second choice. The backup plan when the real plan didn't work out. That's harsh. It's honest, I said. I love Evan. He's a good husband. But if Cole had wanted me, I wouldn't have looked at Evan twice. I settled for safe and reliable when I couldn't have exciting and passionate. That's just the truth. Do you regret marrying Evan? I don't regret it exactly, I said carefully. But I do wonder what my life would be like if I'd married Cole instead. If I'd have the excitement and passion I wanted. If I'd be happier. Evan is fine, but he's not. He's not Cole. You married him, though. You chose to marry him even knowing he wasn't Cole. Because Cole wasn't an option, I said. I married Evan because he was there and he wanted me, and I was tired of waiting for Cole to change his mind. Evan was the safe choice, the practical choice, the one who would actually commit. But he wasn't my first choice. He was who I settled for when I couldn't have who I really wanted. Have you ever told Evan any of this? Never. He can never know. It would destroy him to know he was second choice. That I compare him to Cole constantly. That I wish I'd ended up with his brother instead of him. That's a lot to carry in a marriage. It's fine, I said. Evan doesn't know. Cole lives his own life and isn't interested in me anyway. So I just accept that I settled for the safe brother when I couldn't have the exciting one. It is what it is. We talked for a bit longer before hanging up. I went to bed thinking Evan was asleep and had heard nothing. I was wrong. The next morning, Evan was different, distant, cold. Went through his morning routine without speaking to me. Made coffee only for himself. Left for work without saying goodbye. I texted him, "Is everything okay? You seemed off this morning." No response for hours. When Evan came home that evening, he was still cold and distant. Made dinner for himself. Ate alone in front of the TV. Didn't ask about my day. Acted like I wasn't there. "Evan, what's wrong?" I asked. "Nothing's wrong." "You're acting weird. You barely spoke to me this morning. You're not talking now. Did something happen?" "I'm just tired," Evan said flatly. "Work is stressful." "Do you want to talk about it?" "No." He went to bed early again without kissing me goodnight. Without the usual evening routine we'd established. Without any affection or connection. This pattern continued for days. Evan was polite but distant. Functional but cold. He did his share of household tasks. Went to work. Came home. Ate dinner. Went to bed. But there was no warmth. No intimacy. No emotional connection. He was going through the motions of being married without actually being present. A week after my phone conversation with Rachel, I confronted Evan directly. "What is going on with you? You've been cold and distant all week. Did I do something wrong?" Evan looked at me with empty eyes. "You didn't do anything wrong." "Then why are you acting like this?" "I'm just being practical," Evan said. "Safe, reliable, predictable. all the things you value about me. My stomach dropped. What are you talking about? I heard you, Evan said simply. Last Tuesday night, your conversation with Rachel, every word. I was awake. The walls are thin. You talked loudly. I heard everything you said about settling for me when you couldn't have Cole. I felt the blood drain from my face. Evan, you said I'm fine but not exciting, Evan continued emotionlessly, that I'm safe and predictable, that I was second choice when Cole rejected you, that you settled for me when you couldn't have who you really wanted, that you wish you'd married my brother instead of me, that you compare us constantly, that I can never know any of this because it would destroy me. I didn't mean it that way. Yes, you did, Evan said. You meant exactly what you said. You settled for me. I'm the backup plan, the safe choice when the exciting choice wasn't available. You've spent our entire marriage wishing you'd married Cole instead. That's not true. It is true, Evan said. You said it clearly. You told Rachel you wouldn't have looked at me twice if Cole had wanted you. That I'm fine, but not Cole. That you wonder what your life would be like if you'd married him instead. Those were your exact words. I remember all of them. I was just venting. You were being honest, Evan corrected. You told your sister the truth about how you see our marriage, about how you see me, as someone you settled for, someone who's acceptable but not ideal, someone who was available when who you really wanted wasn't. Evan, please. Here's what I've decided, Evan said calmly. If I'm just the safe, practical choice you settled for, then that's exactly what I'll be. Nothing more, nothing less. You want reliable? You'll get reliable. You want predictable? You'll get predictable. But you won't get effort. You won't get romance. You won't get me trying to make you happy or keep our marriage strong. You'll get exactly what you settled for, someone safe and functional who provides stability while you wish you were with someone else. What are you saying? I'm saying I'm done trying, Evan said. I'm done putting effort into a marriage where my wife thinks she settled for the wrong brother. I'm done being the safe option while you compare me to Cole and wish things were different. You settled for me, so now I'm stopping you from settling. What does that mean? It means I'm not your husband anymore, Evan said. Not in any real sense. I'll live here. I'll pay my share of bills. I'll maintain the house. But I won't give you emotional support. I won't try to connect with you. I won't make romantic gestures. I won't try to make you happy. You'll have a roommate who's reliable and safe. That's what you settled for. That's what you'll get. You're punishing me. I'm protecting myself, Evan corrected. I'm not putting effort into someone who wishes I was someone else, who thinks they settled for me, who compares me to my brother constantly. That's not punishment, that's self-preservation. I love you. You love what I provide, Evan said. Stability, reliability, safety. But you don't love me. You wish I was Cole. You said so yourself. So I'm removing the emotional components of our marriage and giving you exactly what you value, a safe, functional partnership with no excitement or passion. You settled for that. Now you can have it. He walked away to the bedroom and closed the door. The days that followed were devastating. Evan kept his word completely. He was polite, functional, and completely emotionally absent. He woke up, made his own breakfast, went to work, came home, made his own dinner, watched TV, went to bed. He did his share of chores, paid his share of bills, maintained his responsibilities. But there was no affection, no conversation beyond logistics, no intimacy, no connection. It was like living with a stranger, a polite, reliable stranger who happened to share my house. I tried talking to him multiple times, tried apologizing, tried explaining what I'd meant. He listened without emotion and then went back to whatever task he was doing. Evan, please talk to me about this. There's nothing to talk about. You told Rachel the truth. I heard it. Now I'm adjusting my behavior accordingly. I didn't mean I don't love you. You meant you settled for me when you couldn't have Cole, Evan said. That's clear. So I'm giving you exactly what you settled for. Functionality without emotional investment. That's not fair. What's not fair is spending 5 years married to someone who wishes they'd married my brother instead, Evan said. What's not fair is putting effort into someone who thinks I'm acceptable but not ideal. What's not fair is trying to build a life with someone who sees me as second choice. That's what's not fair. He went back to watching TV, ending the conversation. My sister Rachel felt terrible when I told her what happened. He heard the whole conversation. Every word. He wasn't asleep. The walls are thin. He heard me say I settled for him when I couldn't have Cole. What did he say? That he's done trying. That if I settled for him, he'll give me exactly what I settled for. Functionality without emotion. That he's not going to put effort into our marriage anymore. That's harsh. That's what I deserve, I said. I told you I settled for the wrong brother. He heard me. Now he's making me live with that choice without any of the benefits of him actually trying to make me happy. Can you fix this? I don't know. He won't really talk to me. Won't accept my apologies. Just keeps saying he's giving me what I settled for. What does that mean practically? It means he's here but not present. He does his share of everything, but with no emotional investment. He's like a roommate who happens to be my husband legally, but not in any real way. That sounds awful. It is awful, I admitted. And it's my fault. I said terrible things thinking he wouldn't hear them. Now I'm living with the consequences. My mother was unsympathetic when she found out what happened. You told Rachel you settled for Evan. That you wish you'd married Cole instead. I was just venting about wondering what might have been. You told your sister your husband was second choice, my mother said. That you compare him to his brother. That you wouldn't have married him if Cole had wanted you. How did you think Evan would react if he heard that? I didn't think he'd hear it. That doesn't make it better, my mother said. You said it. You meant it. Evan heard it. Now you're facing the consequences of thinking your husband is someone you settled for. What should I do? I don't know if there's anything you can do, my mother said. You destroyed Evan's trust and self-esteem. You made him feel like second choice, like someone you're with out of convenience rather than love. That's not something most people recover from easily. My friend Jessica had similar sentiments. You told your sister you settled for Evan when you couldn't have Cole, with Evan potentially able to hear. I thought he was asleep. But he wasn't, Jessica said, and now he knows his wife thinks she married the wrong brother, that she compares him to Cole constantly, that she wishes things were different. How is he supposed to stay invested in a marriage where his wife thinks she's settled? I do love him. But you love Cole more, Jessica said, or at least you think you would love Cole more if you'd married him instead. That's what you told Rachel. That's what Evan heard, and now he's withdrawn emotionally as a result. He's being cruel. He's protecting himself, Jessica corrected. He's not putting emotional energy into someone who wishes they were with someone else. That's reasonable self-preservation, not cruelty. But I don't actually want Cole. You said you do, Jessica pointed out. You said you wish you'd married him instead of Evan. You said Evan isn't exciting or spontaneous like Cole. You said you settled for safe when you couldn't have passionate. Those were your words. Evan heard them. Now he's acting accordingly. She was right. I had said all those things, had meant them when I said them. Now I was living with Evan, having heard every word. 2 weeks into this new dynamic, I couldn't take it anymore. The coldness, the distance, the feeling of living with someone who'd given up on us. Evan, we need to talk about this, really talk, not just you telling me you're done trying and walking away. Evan looked at me without emotion. What do you want to talk about? About us, about our marriage, about fixing this. There's nothing to fix, Evan said. You settled for me. You told Rachel that clearly. So I'm giving you exactly what you settled for, a safe, reliable husband who provides stability. That's what you wanted when Cole wasn't available. That's what you have. I want more than that. You want Cole, Evan said. You told Rachel you wish you'd married him, that I'm fine but not exciting, that you wouldn't have looked at me if Cole had wanted you. You don't want more from me. You want someone different entirely. That's not true. It is true, Evan said. You've spent our entire marriage comparing me to my brother, wishing I was more like him, regretting that you ended up with me instead of him. I heard you say all of that, so now I'm removing myself emotionally from a marriage where my wife thinks she settled for the wrong person. I chose to marry you. Because Cole wasn't available, Evan said. Not because you actually wanted me. You settled. You told Rachel that. Multiple times. In multiple ways. You settled for me when you couldn't have who you really wanted. So that's what you get. Someone you settled for who's no longer trying to be more than that. Please don't do this. I'm not doing anything, Evan said. I'm being exactly what you said I am. Safe, reliable, predictable. You settled for that. Now you can live with that. Without any effort from me to make you happy. Without any emotional investment from me in our relationship. You get what you settled for. Nothing more. I want my husband back. Your husband was an illusion, Evan said. I was trying to make you happy. Trying to build a strong marriage. Trying to be a good partner. But you saw all of that as me being acceptable but not exciting. As me being fine but not Cole. So I'm done trying. You can have the version of me that you actually see, adequate but not ideal. He walked away again, leaving me alone with the mess I'd created. 3 weeks into this new reality, I was desperate, barely sleeping, barely eating, living with a husband who'd completely checked out emotionally. I tried everything, apologized repeatedly, explained what I'd meant versus what I'd said, told him I loved him, told him I chose him, told him I didn't actually want Cole. Evan listened to all of it without reaction, and then continued being polite, functional, and emotionally absent. I heard what you said, he told me after one of my attempts. You said it to Rachel thinking I wouldn't hear. That makes it more true, not less true. You revealed how you actually feel about our marriage. About me. About Cole. I can't unhear that. I can't pretend you didn't say you settled for me. So I'm living with that reality by giving you exactly what you settled for. What will it take to fix this? I don't know if this can be fixed, Evan said. You told your sister you married the wrong brother, that you wish you'd waited for Cole, that you compare us and I come up short. How do I come back from knowing that? By understanding I was wrong. You weren't wrong, Evan said. You were honest. You told Rachel how you actually feel. The problem isn't that you were wrong. The problem is that those are your real feelings. You do think you settled. You do wish you'd married Cole. You do compare us. That's who you are and how you see our marriage. I can't change that. I can only protect myself from it. By withdrawing completely. By not investing emotionally in someone who wishes I was someone else, Evan said. Yes. By not trying to make happy someone who thinks they married the wrong person. By being exactly what you said I am, safe and functional. That's protecting myself. That's appropriate response to learning your wife settled for you. I called Cole in desperation, asked him to talk to Evan, to help me fix things. Cole was blunt. Christina, you told Rachel you wish you'd married me instead of Evan. Evan heard you. What exactly am I supposed to say to him that makes that okay? Tell him I was wrong. Tell him I was just venting. Tell him I don't actually want you. But you do, Cole said. You told Rachel you do. You said you settled for Evan when I wasn't available. You said you wonder what your life would be like if you'd married me instead. That's not venting. That's revealing how you actually see your marriage. So you're not going to help? I can't help, Cole said. Evan knows his wife thinks she married the wrong brother. That's not something I can talk him out of believing. That's something you said. Something you apparently actually think. He's responding appropriately by protecting himself emotionally. He's given up on our marriage. You gave up on your marriage when you decided you'd settled for him, Cole said, when you spent 5 years comparing him to me. When you told your sister you wish things were different, Evan is just responding to the reality you created. I do love him, But not as much as you think you'd love me, Cole said. That's what you told Rachel, and that's what Evan heard. I can't fix that for you. Nobody can. You destroyed his trust and self-worth. Now you face the consequences. I said I settled for the wrong one. He stopped letting me settle. And I learned that words overheard destroy marriages, that you can't tell someone you settled for them and expect them to keep trying, that husbands who learn their second choice will stop pretending to be first choice, that some damage is permanent. Evan is still here physically, still pays bills, still does chores, still functions as a roommate, but he's gone emotionally, stopped trying to make me happy, stopped investing in our relationship, stopped being my husband in any real sense. All because I told my sister I settled for the wrong brother, because I compared Evan to Cole, because I admitted I wouldn't have married Evan if Cole had been available, because Evan heard every word and decided to give me exactly what I'd settled for: functionality without emotion. 4 weeks later, Evan remains completely detached, polite but cold, present but absent. He's given up on us, and I destroyed my marriage by admitting I'd settled for someone I thought was asleep, but was actually listening to every devastating word. "5 weeks into Evan's emotional withdrawal, I was barely functional. Going to work became difficult. I couldn't concentrate, made mistakes. Co-workers noticed I was distracted and upset. Coming home was worse. Returning to an apartment where my husband treated me like a stranger, where there was no warmth, no affection, no connection, just cold functionality. My therapist asked hard questions about what I'd said to Rachel and what I'd actually meant. You told your sister you settled for Evan when you couldn't have Cole. Did you mean that? I don't know. Maybe at the time I said it. At the time you said it was 3 weeks ago, my therapist pointed out. Not years ago when you first married Evan. You said it recently. You said it while married to him for 5 years. So yes, you meant it. The question is whether you still mean it now that Evan has heard it and changed his behavior. I don't want Cole now. But you wanted him then, my therapist said, when you married Evan. You were thinking about Cole, wishing Cole had wanted commitment. You saw Evan as the safe alternative when the exciting option wasn't available. That's what settling means, taking what's available when what you want isn't. I chose to marry Evan, but not because you wanted Evan specifically, my therapist said, because Cole rejected you and Evan was there. That's settling. Evan is right about that, and now he's withdrawn emotionally because he knows his wife sees him as second choice. How do I fix this? I don't know if you can, my therapist said honestly. Evan heard you say you married the wrong brother, that you compare them constantly, that you wouldn't have looked at him if Cole had wanted you. Those words revealed how you actually see your marriage. He can't unhear them or unknow them. He's protecting himself by not investing emotionally in someone who wishes they'd married someone else. So my marriage is just over. Your marriage as it was is over, my therapist said. Evan isn't going to go back to trying to make you happy while knowing you think you settled for him. He's given you exactly what you apparently value: stability and functionality. Everything else is gone because you destroyed his willingness to provide it. That's not fair, isn't it? My therapist challenged. You told your sister your husband was second choice, that you wish you'd married his brother, that you compare them and Evan comes up short. Why should Evan keep trying to win your affection when he knows you wish he was someone else? She was completely right. Evan had no reason to keep trying when he knew I'd been comparing him to Cole for years. Evan's mother called me angry and disappointed. I heard from Evan what you said, about settling for him when you couldn't have Cole, about comparing them, about wishing you'd married Cole instead. I was just venting to my sister. You were revealing how you actually feel, Evan's mother interrupted. You think Evan is second best. You think Cole is what you really wanted. You married Evan because he was available when Cole wasn't. That's devastating for a spouse to hear. I do love Evan, but not the way you think you'd love Cole, she said. You told Rachel that. Evan heard it. Now he knows his wife has spent their entire marriage wishing she'd married his brother instead. How is he supposed to stay emotionally invested in that? He's being cruel by withdrawing. He's protecting himself, Evan's mother said firmly. He's not being cruel. He's being smart. He's not putting emotional energy into someone who sees him as acceptable but not ideal. Someone who compares him to his brother constantly. Someone who admits she settled. What should I do? I don't know, Evan's mother said. But understand that what you said was unforgivable to Evan. You destroyed his self-worth. You made him feel like second choice in his own marriage. That's not something most people recover from. He may never trust you emotionally again. So I just lost my marriage. You lost your marriage the moment you decided Evan was someone you settled for instead of someone you actively chose, she said. He just didn't know it until he heard you tell Rachel. Now he knows, and he's acting accordingly. My friends were split on whether Evan was being reasonable or cruel. Jessica thought Evan was justified. You told your sister you married the wrong brother. Evan heard it. He's protecting himself by withdrawing. That's reasonable. But my friend Amanda thought Evan was being punishing. So you said something hurtful. He's punishing you by completely checking out of the marriage. That's not healthy. That's revenge. Is it revenge or self-preservation? Jessica asked. Christina told her sister she wouldn't have married Evan if Cole had been available, that she settled for safe when she couldn't have exciting. Why should Evan keep trying to make her happy knowing that? Because that's what you do in marriage, Amanda said. You work through problems. You don't just give up and become a cold roommate. Evan didn't give up, Jessica said. Christina gave up when she decided Evan was second choice. Evan is just responding to that reality by not pretending anymore. The argument between my friends reflected my own confusion. Was Evan being cruel or reasonable? Was he punishing me or protecting himself? Should he be trying to work through this, or was he right to withdraw? I tried one more time to have a real conversation with Evan. 6 weeks after he'd overheard my conversation with Rachel. Evan, please. We need to actually talk about this. About fixing our marriage. About moving forward. Evan looked at me with those empty eyes I'd come to dread. What do you want me to say? I want you to tell me what it will take to fix this. What I need to do to get you back. To get us back. You can't get us back, Evan said. The US, you remember, was built on me not knowing you think you settled for me. On me believing you chose me because you wanted me. That foundation is gone. I know the truth now. You married me because Cole rejected you. I was available and willing to commit. I was the safe choice when the exciting choice wasn't available. That's what our marriage is built on. That doesn't change. But I do love you. You love having stability, Evan said. You love having a partner who's reliable, but you don't love me specifically. You'd rather have Cole if he'd been willing to commit. You said that to Rachel. It's true, I accept that it's true, but I'm not going to keep trying to win your love when I know you wish I was someone else. I don't wish you were someone else. You wish I was Cole, Evan said. You told Rachel you compare us, that I'm predictable and he's exciting, that I'm safe and he's passionate, that you settled for me when you couldn't have him. Those comparisons don't go away because I heard them. They were always there. I just didn't know about them. So what now? We just live like roommates forever. We live like what we apparently always were, Evan said. I provide stability and reliability. You provide companionship. But there's no emotional intimacy because I'm not investing in someone who sees me as second best. That's our marriage now. That's what it was always going to become once I learnt the truth about how you see me. I don't accept that. You don't have a choice, Evan said. I'm not going back to trying to make you happy. I'm not going back to romantic gestures or emotional connection. I'm not going back to being vulnerable with someone who wishes they'd married my brother. You settled for me. Now you get exactly what that means. A functional partner with no emotional investment. That's not a marriage. It's the marriage you created, Evan said, when you decided I was acceptable but not ideal. When you compared me to Cole for 5 years. When you told your sister you married the wrong brother. You created this marriage. I'm just living in the reality of it. He went to the bedroom and closed the door, ending the conversation again. 7 weeks in, I was falling apart. My boss called me into his office, concerned about my work performance. Christina, is everything okay? You've been distracted, making errors, missing deadlines. That's not like you. I'm going through some personal issues. Do you need time off to deal with them? I don't think time off would help, I admitted. The issues are at home, with my husband. I'm sorry to hear that, my boss said, but I need you to figure out how to manage it. Your work is suffering. That needs to improve, or we'll have to discuss performance management. I was on the verge of losing my job because my marriage was destroying me emotionally. Rachel felt terrible about her role in the situation. If I hadn't asked if you ever wonder if you married the right person, none of this would have happened. I still would have thought it, I said. I still would have compared Evan to Cole. Evan just wouldn't have known about it. Your question didn't create my feelings. It just gave me permission to voice them. But now Evan knows and he's completely withdrawn. Because he heard me say I settled for him, I said. That's on me, not you. I said it. I meant it. He heard it. Now I live with the consequences. What are you going to do? I don't know, I admitted. Evan won't really talk to me, won't consider counseling. Just keeps saying he's giving me what I settled for. I think my marriage might actually be over. Would you leave him? And what? Try to be with Cole? Cole made it clear he's not interested. And even if he was, I don't actually want Cole now. I want Evan. The Evan I had before he heard me say terrible things about him. That Evan is gone. I know, I said. I destroyed him by admitting I settled for the wrong brother. Now I have this cold, distant version who's just going through the motions, and I don't know how to get the real Evan back. My mother was more direct when we talked again. You need to accept that you can't get back what you had with Evan. You destroyed that when you revealed how you see him. So I should just accept living with someone who's emotionally absent. You should accept the consequences of your words and choices, my mother said. You told Rachel you settled for Evan. Evan heard you. He's responding by not trying anymore. That's natural consequence, not punishment. It feels like punishment. Because you miss what you had, my mother said. But what you had was built on Evan not knowing you think you married the wrong brother. That was always going to end once he learned the truth. He learned it sooner than you expected because he overheard your conversation. But it was going to end eventually. So there's no fixing this? I don't know, my mother said, but I do know that Evan is right to protect himself. You revealed that you see him as second choice. He's choosing not to be emotionally vulnerable with someone who wishes they'd married someone else. That's smart, not cruel. 8 weeks into the new reality, I finally accepted that Evan wasn't coming back. The man I'd married, warm, loving, trying, was gone, replaced by someone polite, functional, and completely emotionally unavailable. I tried one final time. Evan, I know I hurt you. I know what I said was terrible, but we've been together 8 years, married 5. That has to mean something. We can't just throw that away. I'm not throwing it away, Evan said. I'm adjusting to the reality of what it actually is. You spent those 8 years comparing me to Cole, wishing you'd married him instead, seeing me as second choice. I spent those years thinking you chose me because you wanted me. One of us was wrong about our relationship. It was me. So now I'm correcting my misunderstanding by treating our marriage as what it actually is. Which is what? A practical arrangement where I provide stability and you provide companionship, Evan said. Nothing deeper than that, because deeper requires emotional investment, and I don't invest emotionally in people who wish I was someone else. So this is permanent? This is reality, Evan said. The reality that was always there under the surface. I just didn't know it. Now I do. And I'm living accordingly. I said I settled for the wrong one. He stopped letting me settle, and And I learned that words overheard can't be unheard, that spouses who learn their second choice will stop trying to be first choice, that you can't compare your husband to his brother and expect him to keep competing, that some damage is truly permanent. Evan is still here, still reliable, still functional, but he's gone emotionally. And I'm living with the husband I created by admitting I'd settled for him. Someone who does his duty but gives nothing more. Someone who's safe and predictable but offers no warmth or connection. Someone who's exactly what I said I settled for, without any of the effort he used to put into making me happy, despite knowing I wished he was someone else. 9 weeks later, I'm still living in this cold marriage I created, still coming home to a husband who treats me like a stranger, still facing the consequences of admitting I married the wrong brother, and still unable to take back the words that destroyed the man I actually wanted to keep.